that Fitz would do would be like, say, hey, this
Shoot
is
me,
really
Fox Spencer's
dangerous. You
mom.
might
What?
not
Huh?
come back. Hmm?
Yeah. No, sorry, I had to get out my crazy outburst before he pressed the record
Oh
button.
yeah, the record button is hit now, so say
So
your
keep it in.
piece, go crazy. But yep.
By the way, we haven't said it in a while, but hey, Nikki's mom, sorry for
Hey,
watching,
because
but
she
also
stopped
hi.
Hey,
watching
Nikki's
us.
mom.
That's what happened. Nikki's mom found
She's-
her own group and stopped watching us.
She started her own group, and then she discovered Dimension 20.
Yep.
And she's been
She's
watching
like, I'm good.
the new, like,
We can't. I can't
sophomore
compete
year
with
that's
that.
coming out.
Yeah. Have you filled her in on what's any length of what's going on? Okay.
Oh, 100%.
Um.
Good luck in hell. Is the message.
So funny. I feel like since it was last week, I don't need to recap a whole lot, but we know that we're headed to the underworld, and we're trying to, the bullies are trying to save the world. I think last episode they did meet Zindali, who is the daughter of I can never say his name, but the Archon who enslaved all of the Leonins long ages past, who who lost the war to the first pantheon of gods, and she's looking for his remnants of his ship and some of his, because basically if she can find a piece of equipment that he has, basically it has the ability to ignite the glyphs that, or the runes that are etched inside of the god beyond the Nyx is petrified shell, which is starting to be less petrified these days because the god is slowly waking up. It's starting to move. And she basically shares with you that some of the Archons want her dead because she's a part of the group that actually wants to destroy this god. The Archons, civilization is prone to kind of needing gods to survive, or needing kind of part culturally maybe, or maybe even part of their life force is to bind themselves to a god. And so, they come from a world that is not Theros, and in their world, all of their gods had either fled or died. And so they found the god, they found the petrified one, and they chose to try to keep that god alive and to kind of bond with him. They live inside of his form, and we know, long story short, that is the Phoenix that we know by another name. We know also that the gods from her world that did flee were the Titans, who were imprisoned within Theros. We now know that Thraxes has taken the place, a new type of sun god, not just taken the place of Heliod, but is literally created a new type of god of both radiant light and fire. So almost like the best of Perforos and Heliod together. And then taking it a step further, it now has the Titans chained to him, using them as a conduit to further power, that something Clothis would have been doing before. So he's now like the custodian of those Titan prisons. And so it seems that going to the underworld is our best bet, because not only do they are dedicated to finding a friend and resurrecting them, but also within Erebos's palace or tower lies the ability, or the artifact, whatever it may be, that, or the ritual that can bring back a dead god. Those are just some of the reasons they would be going there now. And I think that's kind of they did fight. Ashiok has made her presence known again. This god, they have continuously tried to instill fear in the bullies. The bullies also feel that through the good dreams and the positive dreams that they have, that this Dreamwalker is still on their side, kind of working through that dream space on their behalf. And so it seems to be a game that Ashiok is continuing to play, and they know that she is always, not too far away. And now they're going to the first level of the underworld and going to Old Elysia, the place that was the original beautiful place for champions to reside in the afterlife, before Erebos got angry with it and crumbled it and dumped it into the lower levels of the underworld. Anybody want to add anything? I also mentioned that we will have a God conversation today, so where you all will be playing a scene where you'll be playing God. So you all have been chosen the God you have, and we know that at least 2 of you worship Perforos, and so kind of recapping just for anyone who's Perforos is no longer, so we're not going to include him in today's. I was considering it, but I think the head of Perforos, while it still has some ability to kind of speak, I think he can't travel across the galaxy. He can't actually go to me, so he is that kind of lost, kind of floating there still. His power just barely hanging on. And we know that the furnace, or what's in his heart, that's kind of kept the bust of, it's really not just his head, it's like his entire bust, kept that going, because he also has his head and he has his heart and that power, that Nixian power that you would consider his brain. And so within that heart is his forge. And we unfortunately remember our friend Renee, who played Apple, who sacrificed himself, who was a Leonin, who jumped into that forge and gave his life to keep Perforos alive. So those are some of the other things that have happened kind of in the background. So with that, I guess we can get started. Okay, let's go ahead. Should be able to hear music. Am I sharing music? No, I don't think I am.
I do not hear any.
Good thing I caught that. Because I've heard it all this time, but we're share screen. There we go. So it should kick in now.
Loud and clear.
Good stuff. So our opening scene tonight is not starting with the gods. We're starting with the bullies, and we see them, as you can kind of hear that water slowly washing against the bow of the bullies are adrift, and they are on the Tartix River, and they're being guided by a faceless, cloaked ferryman, slender as bone. And they're riding in this like long gondola, and it's just spacious enough. Spacious is probably not even the right word, just spacious enough for them to all fit, or all that have gone. And so as they drift along the river, to even call the Tartix River a river is crazy, because it's so immense to your size, the scale. It could be a sea to you all, flowing between these land masses. As it slices through these jagged rock formations of the underworld's first level. You can see the Tower of Erebos partially visible as the rest of it vanishes beneath the storm clouds. And it always is perpetually distant, but at the same time always looming in the foreground at the same time. And they've been given this map, handed this map by this ferryman, and the map, as you look at it, seems to whisper in like your mind, almost like the map, as though it's your guide, or a guide to this new world. And it says to you, while many envision the underworld's wards are stacked atop one another, their true relationship defied mortal understanding. Philius marks the entrance, while THEROS stands as the farthest place from that entryway. Other wards hold equal places between them. Regardless, the souls destined for each of these realms finds their destination with equal efficiency and permanency. Each ward is infinitely expansive, and distance is constantly, endlessly expanding and contracting. For this, travel on foot is almost impossible, but secret paths you may find, magical steeds, other aids, or even or other powerful denizens that you will encounter here could hasten your journey. And the ferryman just continues silently, right, as you're all listening to the map. You begin to approach your destination at the shore that is closest to the Elysia Fallen. And as the mist begins to part, you see a figure standing there on the shores, kind of bold and big, familiar shaped, a cloak thrown across it. And as you begin to click closer, figure kind of throws back a hood and hails you. And you notice that it's hailing with a clawed hand, two fiery eyes that burn like the forge of Perforos. The Leonin, his mane now changed, a vibrant red. And as that mist parts, you see the bronze bullies are reacquainted with Apodexis. And so, getting closer there, Apodexis, can you tell us, as you're standing there on the shores of, I know all of our images are all out of whack right now, but as we take a quick break for me to reset those, can you tell me what Apo says to the bronze bullies when he sees them?
It's about damn time.
And we'll take a quick break there as I reset the screens here.
All right, Duke Nukem.
It's been 10 years.
So take a quick commercial break so you guys can get acquainted with Renee's back. Good to see you, Renee. Good to have you at this game.
Yeah, buddy.
Son of a bitch.
Find you here in the underworld.
Sorry, it took us like 37 episodes to actually make it, but we appreciate having you.
Sorry, we can't resist a side quest.
It's okay.
We almost still didn't make it. Like, it was between this and fighting the sun, so...
Oh, I've been watching and reading. I'm like, oh.
You're also welcome.
Sorry, Nikki's mom.
To fill Renee in on anything that you'd like, or you can wait till we play in game, which is also fine. I told him I was not going to give him a full recap, and that we would just, because you've been in the underworld.
Jeez, so much. I feel
so
like so much has happened.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start.
Pretty much everyone in the group is having nightmares,
Yeah.
which is feeding our next boss fight.
Yeah. If you encounter this nightmare lady, she's terrifying.
Mommy's scary for sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jason
Literally,
Flash
Malcolm was like, "You're so powerful, I don't know how to scare you," and then put this lady in the game. And we were all like, "Is this where we die?" Like,
Yeah, it's a bad time.
Ain't
It's a
nobody
bad time.
been resistance to
terrifying.
dreams.
Yeah, no, so Mel let me know this week, like, he's like, you think you can make it? I'm like, I think you can make it. And then I told my wife, and then I was like, I'm like, oh, here's the best part. They don't know I'm coming.
Yuck.
But it is good to see all of the family. It's very nice.
This is a very welcome surprise.
oh,
I
100%.
thought I was expecting Nick to be like, "Oh yeah!" I'm like, oh god, Apex. Okay, cool. God.
That would have
It would
been
have
like,
been hilarious.
oh, yeah, you're about to fight the gods. What do you do now? Oh.
Speaking of wrestling, is anyone seeing what's going on in like WWE world at all with the Cody Rhodes and the
What,
Rock?
with the Rock?
This is some of the best wrestling TV
Man, that's not
had
another
long-
thing
You know
to get back
why?
into.
Do you want to know why it is?
What?
Because it's a mirrored image of Nation of Domination.
Oh, with the bloodline.
Yes, it is completely a mirrored image.
It kind of is. Do you think the bloodline? Do you think the Nation Domination was ever as like big as the bloodline is? I think
For that time
for
era,
that
no,
time,
because
yeah,
I mean, look how long it took Kofi Kingston to become World
yeah,
Heavyweight
yeah,
Champion. I think the Nation Domination was a good platform for Farouk to continue wrestling and all the other ones to like make a name.
sure,
But when The Rock came in, it was really his platform to like
yeah.
springboard into his own
It's really just
like
been
character.
a really excellent time where real life is blurring. The lines are blurring between what's story, and what's
But
happening.
also, like the Nation had DX to go up against.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's no real faction to go up against the Bloodline.
no,
Like
Eh,
they don't make factions anymore. It's like
no.
here's a tag team.
Yeah, so long story short, we've got like this guy named Cody Rhodes whose dad never won the major championship belt. And so Cody's like really trying to complete his story for his dad. And so Cody used to play really bad characters, and the company finally got behind him, and now he's really big. And they gave Cody his chance last year, and he went all the way to WrestleMania and he lost. And so he went all the way through the same process this year and won the Royal Rumble so that he can take another fight with this guy Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has been champion for almost 4 years. The thing about Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns was chosen to be the face of the company a long time ago, and everyone hated him because they felt the company was pushing him and not the fans were pushing him. And so Roman also has battled leukemia most of his life. And so his leukemia came back, Roman went out, and when Roman came back from beating cancer and got back in, everybody like felt for him while he was out. When he got back, they went back to booing him. And so because he was hated so much, Roman like decided to just be a bad guy, be a heel, and stay in that lane. And so in a weird way, they got what they wanted. They got him to be the face of the company, but they got him to be the face of the company as a bad guy. And he has had that championship forever. So now we got this growing baby face that might actually take it from him at WrestleMania. He's the second chance they get to fight. And then for some reason, Cody comes out like 3 weeks ago and says, Roman, I'm coming after you, but it's not going to be today. It's not going to be now because I'm going to give this over to The Rock. And everybody's like, this makes no sense. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson comes out, and everyone knows The Rock's on the TKO board, and everyone knows the way The Rock works in real life is to kind of use his power. He kind of pushes his way around to get what he wants. Same thing he did with like the Black Adam movie. So everybody's going, oh, this is happening in real life where not only is The Rock on the board, but he also wants this match. Now, The Rock wants this match because him and Roman Reigns both come from the greatest bloodline of wrestlers, which is the Samoan family. I won't go into that. And so that's why The Rock wants this match. And it will be a good match, but the fans are turning, they're like, nope, we don't want this because we want Cody. That's what we want. And so I don't know if it was built on that way, but I don't know if they had to reshuffle it last minute. But I think they kind of went back to the drawing board. And instead, what they did is they had this big Las Vegas, they kind of do their like, what do you call it, promotionals, kind of like the way, since they're owned by the same company, they do them like an MMA
Press
fight.
conferences.
They do a press conference. And they have Roman Reigns come out, and Roman says, you know what, I'm not fighting Cody. I'm fighting The Rock. Rock comes out, and he's like, yeah, we're fighting each other because here's the bloodline. This is the families we're from. Our grandfathers would want to see this fight. Cody finally comes out. Cody says, fuck this. This is all wrong. I shouldn't have listened to you, Rock. I want to fight Roman. And says something about, and then Rock says something about his dad, who is dead. Dusty Rhodes and Cody Rhodes' dad is dead. And then The Rock slaps him. And then they get into like a brawl, like a little bit of fight on the stage. And so it ends there. And so it just is. So The Rock turns bad guy and has gone back to being Hollywood Rock, and now has joined Roman Reigns and has joined the bloodline as like part of that Samoan bloodline. So it's actually better than it would have been had they had the Roman Reigns Rock fight, because now The Rock is a bad guy. So I don't know. It's just been really good. It's just been
My
really...
2 cents on the whole Rock Roman Reigns. It's never going to be a good match, even if it is a good match, because it was televised in The Rock show. His like biopic TV show where he got actors to portray him and stuff.
Yeah.
The Rock Roman fight sprung from that.
I feel like no one ever watched it. So like
No one did.
no one
But
watched
the
that
one
show.
clip that like blew up was you saw a young kid who portrayed Joe That's his
Yep.
real name.
And I hear
Roman
I hear
Reigns.
he's kind of an a-hole in real life, so they've always said he's really kind of like a bad guy in real life.
Yeah, like this kid
All
was
right, almost
portraying
done,
Roman
guys.
Reigns as a child at the time, and young Rock, the kid had him in a headlock, and he was like, "Fight me." He goes, "No." Something like that has to happen at WrestleMania, and I'm like,
Oh
God,
no way. Okay, so yeah,
yes, I can
they've been
literally
trying to
look up
do
that
this.
clip and send it to you.
That's what made I think the
It's
fans so
stupid.
upset is that they could see through the bull and could tell that the
Yeah.
Rock they've been planning this fight for a long time, and then tried to they'd like working the story through Cody, having everybody watch all these hours of wrestling and being like, no, we're gonna scrap that and like make Cody and it was really mean. Cody's like been really fighting for his life to make this moment happen, and they were going to screw him again. So the fans got so angry. They were sending death threats to the Rocks, like, which no one should ever do. It's ridiculous. But like, fans shouldn't be that serious. But they were like, people were. It was that insane that WWE was like, okay, we need to let Cody fight Roman Reigns. So let's just have you be the bad guy, Rock. All right, I see the fixed Persis' screen.
What's the age? Like I just looked it up. Like Roman Reigns is like 38, and The Rock is what, like 50 something.
Yeah, these guys have been in this.
I'm not
game
gonna
for a
lie,
minute.
man. When The Rock showed up on the camera in WWE, I was like, your age is showing now, man.
Yeah, it's starting to show. It's all starting to show for all
Like,
of them.
I'm like, all right. Last time you got
That's
in
something
this,
also about wrestlers. They that life. They never want to like fade. They never want to go. They never want to fade into like obscurity. They don't ever want to put it down.
Yeah.
The time comes, you gotta put it down.
You talk
They
about their
can't.
ages showing like they're the first person who to show up looking geriatric. Like,
Okay, I think we got
I
to
mean,
can
Ric
still do
Flair.
this.
have the screens together again.
That dude's still wrestling. Which
No,
is
Ric Flair.
terrifying.
Ric Flair is not still wrestling, is he?
Yes, he is. He's doing
Yes, he
indie
is.
wrestling.
Oh my
Wow.
god! Please, Rick, stop.
Ric
He comes
Flair
out in a
was-
t-shirt now.
Rick, listen.
Thank
man.
God.
If you're listening, Rick, come on.
It bad. It bad, man.
you
I'm
out
like,
there,
just let
Rick,
him.
please. For your real fans, lay it down.
Please stop.
Like, you didn't make your
Alright.
money yet? Damn.
Yeah, so the party has been united with Apodexes. But where we're gonna pick up before we a little bit of light, a little bit of thunder. We'll let that thunder carry us away from the underworld, away from, like I said, the underworld, and through the stars of the Nyx, through the gaseous nebula, until we find ourselves in a place that, even though it is a part of the Nyx, it's been hidden away from our eyes, hidden away from the Bronze Bullies' eyes, and probably anyone else who is floating through that space. And I believe it is something that has been able to be kept secret with the sundering of Theros by the god Krufix, as he has veiled it from those eyes, hidden in its own little pocket space. We kind of break through those stars and clouds into this, and we see this drifting mountain that rises at like a sharp relief against these starry skies of the Nyx. And it culminates into a golden orb that can be seen from a great distance away. And that orb pulses with a light that almost shines as bright as any sun. As we kind of push in, we can see that there are places on the mount for each of the gods, or some of the gods in their temples. And this appears where if the Mount Nykthos was the place where the gods, the place where their temples stood in the Nyx, this is actually the place where some of the gods actually house and would go to rest, where they would live some parts of their lives or their existence as mortal beings do. As one could see, that Heliod maintains a sprawling palace here, and you can even see that Perforos has a forge here, all of these different parts of this grand mountain. But towards the top, very peak under that golden globe and that light, is a hall, columns open to all around, with beauty adorned in beautiful plants and flowers. And these, within this hall space, this grand, it is where the gods sometimes assemble to speak with one another. And here, Krufix has called a most crucial meeting aimed to unifying the efforts and creating a plan for the gods to act upon. He's seen that the demise of many of the gods is happening, and the rise of even new demigods is possible now in this new Theros, in this new age. That new gods have come to place, literally the one that we all see and know, or that these gods know and see and know, as Thraxes. Literally evident by the sun shining again in the Nyx space. And Krufix knows that there is the danger still looming by that black hole. We've got this bright sun and then this black hole that threatens to consume not just consume the worshippers of Theros, but the gods themselves. And so how could his brothers not see how important it would be to come together in this time? And so what I ask is, starting with you, Krufix, set the scene on what we see you doing, even if that's very little to nothing. Just kind of set a scene for us. And then I'd like you all to go around and to share as we see your god enter the room. You can also describe what your god looks like. According to, Theros lore. If you need help with that, I can always step in. And you also can add to this, you are in this, think of yourselves as mini dungeon masters, in that as gods you can shift and create, and therefore if you want the hall to look a certain way, or you want to change something about the scene, you can. Think of this as more a narrative storytelling together. I said this before we have the call, but above table, that this is a very important scene. This isn't kind of a throwaway scene that I'm doing just for us to try something new. This is the gods of Theros literally deciding what they are going to do while the bronze bullies are in the underworld. And they don't have to have a conversation about the bronze bullies, but think about yourself as a god. And from this walking away, whatever you decide, your plan of action is what I will use going forward as that parallel storyline, right? Of what the gods do. A lot of times in this story, we've been playing for, almost 2.5 years. A lot of times in the story, I've been deciding what the gods are doing in the background, and they've been doing many things. This is a chance for you to say, this is what my god is doing, or this is what we are doing. And then I can use that as inspiration for where they go from here. Doesn't mean that they will succeed at whatever they do or try, but it allows the plan to be put in action, for some dice to be rolled, for another story to be had in the background. So with that, I'll stop ranting and turn it over to Krufix, who's running our meeting.
A assemblage of stars take place. At the end of the long hall, we see a figure with 4 arms lighted with stars. All 4 arms raise up, and you see what look like star charters, lines that make up constellations going out, stretching across the Nyx, calling the other gods that it reaches. You all feel this sense, this calling from a familiar yet very ambiguous figure. It can only be Krufix. The hum and sound that stretches through the space calls out, "A danger that plagues all of Theros is upon us. We must convene as an age turns over anew. Will it be of ruin and of oblivion, or will it sprout and bring a new tale? We must decide to choose. Come to the gathering at the hall at the top of the heavens."
Our first god who enters then, I'll do it by a dice roll. Is it's gonna be Athreos.
I had a fucker's feeling. So, after hearing that, Athreos silently makes his way towards the mountaintop. As he traverses the Nyx, it's as if he is floating, almost like wherever he goes, he's constantly on his boat. He is a very gaunt deity with tethered robes, a shroud over his head to hide his face. Around his waist is thousands, if not millions, of golden masks of all shapes and sizes. These golden masks are best known as the masks that mark the returned. And as he approaches the mountaintop, he steadily just stands there at the front door, waiting to see who else answers Rufix's call.
And Athreos, you will decide who enters next.
D4? Ooh boy.
And they have to be a god that's present, so don't worry about the others.
Just Malcolm 7 times in a row.
Let's get that Storm Boy in here.
Karanos?
Yes.
All right.
So you see, he's massive. He's bare chested. He's got the muscles rippling. Bearded, curled. Beard, beard's tight curls. And he's wearing purple loincloth with mithril chainmail hanging down, almost like a kilt. And then it's buckled by a massive dragon skull. And as he's walking, he's flexing his hands just kind of like this, going back and forth, and you can see lightning bolts, right? Little cumulus nimbus clouds just kind of forming and then like turning white and dark gray, then black, and then just disintegrating and starting all over again.
And you will decide, Karanos, who arrives next.
Let's go with Thassa.
Okay. So on this Temple Mount, it's imperceptible at first, but you hear this rushing sound gradually increasing until it crashes into a boom, and instantly she's there. There's a bizarre looking woman, the that seems like her body is a hodgepodge of marine creatures. She's in the shape of a human, but her skin is like a combination of shiny fish scales and plated crustacean armor. Her head is crowned with crab claws, and then her eyebrows kind of extend into almost like fish fins that can be expressive much more even than eyebrows can. And instead of hair, there are tentacles drooping down. Light plays over her as if sunlight is filtering through water into something in the deep. Brothers.
So who arrives next?
Who arrives next? Let's bring in Nylea.
Oh, I think before Nylea even enters the room, you just hear bird song. And as it gets a little louder, you just see her kind of glide in. And she's got like beautiful leather wrappings all up and down her arms for her archer's bow, bracers. And as she comes in, she kind of leans against a wall. She doesn't take a seat. She says, "You rang?"
The visage of Crewfix at the end nods. You can see that the two stars that glow a little bit brighter, denoting what seem like eyes towards you.
And last but not least, I imagine our god of victory arrives.
Yeah, after the peaceful birds and chirping, you hear all of a sudden in the distance, you hear horns blaring as it's just the sound of hooves trumpeting to where every stride of this distant rider brings him like he's teleporting closer every step he takes until he finally arrives, and you see it's not a rider but a visage of a well-muscled hoplite with the lower body of a bovine, of a bull centaur, face hidden behind his horned helm, bearing his spear and his shield, ready to go. Sorry I'm a bit late. Tried to get Mogus, but still a little shy after losing the last battle. You guys should have seen it.
And with that, it looks like the meeting commences. As I will say, Karametra shows up, but stands outside of the hall listening, and Ifara walks inside, and she is a woman who wears her hair up, but her skin appears to be that of almost stone, as though she's made, like as though she's petrified, but she moves with the grace of any living being. And she carries this heavy, like, amphora without any handles on it. And it seems to consistently, though she's not pouring anything out, it consistently pours out water and carries a scroll in the other. She walks in and leans against the wall and nods to her brothers and her sisters all around, and looks at Crewfix and says, "I was doing work and the cities are in disarray, but you rang?" And with that, we will commence. These are the gods. If a god is not mentioned here, then they did not show up. So of course Erebos is not here, Mogus is not here, Thraxes is not here, Heliod is dead, Perforos' body spirit is floating somewhere in the far reaches and cannot be here as well. And Krufix knows that. He knows where those gods are within, perspective to this meeting. I'll turn it over to you all to kind of say what happens next.
For those of you wondering, Clothis is also dead and missing.
And Clothis is also dead. So I'm sorry. So many gods, as we learned last episode. I think I didn't say Clothis because I imagine Krufix might not have shared that yet, and they may not know that. But yes, since it's just happened, they might have felt the riffle in the spores. I don't know if the gods know when their siblings die automatically, but they probably feel something's off.
I would also share, after walking in, Thassa walks in and kind of finds a corner, sits facing a bit away from the rest, as if disinterested. It's kind of swirling. She has a glass and it's a swirling liquid. If you look closely, it's like a roiling storm inside there.
Wonderful imagery. Love it.
The meeting that I've called is about the state in which Theros is heading. A being is gathering power, one that we once knew was Phoenix, turning into a god beyond our own realm to begin consuming it, what's left of Theros, aided by the Archons. Our own begin to dwindle, and new other forces are beginning to rise alongside. If we don't act together and with purpose, we shall be sharing our brother and sisters' other fates.
How do the others take this? Testing.
If
Karanos
no
just
one... Go ahead.
Karanos just he just storms are coming from his hands on the ground. Like anything that's by him is just electrified. Any of the other gods or goddesses are by him, their hair is just kind of going upward from the amount of electricity coming out of his body. He just kind of like shakes his head like, what are we waiting for?
A decision, a spark of inspiration, is something that I seek from you, Karanos. Situation needs action. Iroas. The strife that is going on. The war against a greater being that is beyond our realm. would be quite the one to fight for.
As you probably know, brother, those particular mortals have received my blessing. And
I have seen.
if the rest, especially those around Satessa or Melitus, feel like they are going to stand up and fight for glory, then I will be behind them. Whatever enemy they face, whether that be these cultists of the dragon, I think some of them have mentioned, or any unhonorable foe, I'll be on their side.
Rufix nods his head to that.
And don't worry, I'll get my brother to be there too.
Knowing glance as you say that. Nylea, the balance of nature is being thrown off balance because of this dark star that is consuming THEROS.
Indeed.
One of your champions is trying their hardest to set things aright.
Indeed again. And I also have bestowed my blessing upon them already. What more could we offer?
The coming dangers are going to cause casualties and ripples. Protection. The lands will need protection. Especially from this new force that is rising. This new god.
This new beast.
Beast at one point, but has taken up power that is quite beyond itself.
White.
I do not know its intentions, but it has gathered the essences of the primordials.
Rufix, Afar speaks of, do you speak of this? Are we speaking of this Thraxes god who is for all purposes, a knockoff to Heliod?
We are speaking of Thraxes, yes. But the power that he's taking is coming in at a staggering rate. So much so, I don't know what they are capable of at this point.
Karametra mumbles, at least my fields are able to cultivate again. We finally have daylight for my followers. This god is doing something right. It is your... This is a... Krufix, you put this on us, but you started this, that group you allow to run amok. Aren't they the reason that we have no Heliod? Perforos put his faith in them. Look at where it got him.
Krufix puts his hand on the long stone table as he kind of twists, as he takes with the hand, he kind of, with the wrist, kind of twists it, and you can see this pattern of stars kind of moving, almost making like a picture. And it looks of a sun. It shows a simplistic image of Heliod and Perforos. With the guidance I got from Clothis, I saw the strands of fate where things would lead. A ruin, a destruction that would plague Theros, destroy the lands, and leave only an empty pit of death where Erebos would then claim rule. Then the darkness would create a black sun and swallow everything into an eternal night. Those that ran amok have changed a destiny twice now. And with no more strands of fate to guide, they are a hope. They are a possibility of change for the betterment.
Afar speaks up, leaning against the wall, looking into her M4, and like in the water, kind of swirling her fingers in it. They are. Not to mention, I hear the sounds that the mortals. I hear what they whisper behind the polis walls, behind every village that has a roof over its head, every mortal that lives within a civilized community. Many of them speak of this group's name. They seem to, with their flags and their banners, they seem to be quite more than champions, Krufix. I hear some of these chants, and they sound a lot more like prayers to me.
As we are moving from the age of heroes to a new age, there is not just one god that has arisen, but a second one. and alongside rising demigods.
And what would you ask us to do with this information, Krufix? You are so quite often dramatic.
His voice lowered more in a matter of speaking more face to face, more personally, rather than that booming. What I ask is that we all know the change that is coming with rising beings such as these. The dynamic will be shifting. It already has. You've all felt it. The thin veil of the next ripples. Maybe some will take places similar, but not quite the same. Maybe some will disappear before they rise. And maybe some will fall soon after they ascend to the heavens. I provide the knowledge of what needs to be known at what point. And this is at this time what you all need to know.
Well, I can do what I must. I will do what I must to protect my cities. But many of them, I can see the cracks in the walls. I can see the city drifting ever so close to this void that is tearing, that is ripping a hole in the Nyx itself. What will you do, Nylea? What will you do, Irois? What can we do to stop this god that you now, Krufix, has told us is the lowly Phoenix, the one that the very being that we thought was the jester of the group, now looms to devour us all? You all are so quiet. What? Irois, you are the man of victory. Well, half a man at least. What should we do here? You are the being of war. You know, there was a time, I imagine, when you were a bull, and when you were cut in half, your brother sprouted legs, and you sprouted the other half sprouted a man's body. What will... Please, I'm sorry, I do not mean to slight. I am actually just asking for answers.
As you say, our numbers are ever shifting to the times, and we will take care of it as we need. We put down the upstart Xenagos when that was necessary. Krufix, are you calling us today to say that there's another upstart that needs to be put down by us as a council? If so, I'll gladly lead the charge, but that's not a sentence that I would carry lightly.
I would not carry such a thing without discussion or throw careless words out. Our biggest threat currently is the god beyond that is devouring Theros until there is nothing left. That needs to be stopped before it is too late. It is also important to know the other forces that are moving, the things that are changing within Theros that we must understand is happening.
For this entire time, Athreos has been silent since he is practically the silent god. But he grabs a bowl that's sitting around, goes over to Thassa, and just gestures towards the bowl in his hands to her, indicating, Goddess of the water, will you fill his cup?
Breaking character for a second. I'm a little confused about the meaning. Right? Literal meaning?
Yes.
Oh,
You are the
Yeah.
goddess of water, I mean.
yeah. So yeah, she does takes the glass that she has and tips it, and despite the glass being smaller than the bowl that he has, water pours out in a small flood and fills it.
He takes it, bows. It's like floats over towards the table, sets it down in front of everybody, and he goes to his waist to grab those golden masks and starts to just slowly make them fall into it and beckons all the gods to come and look. And if they all do, great. If not, you're lost. But what you'll see in the bowl is the atrocities that the gods did in the name of this brotherly strife, the famines that Karametra created, the droughts that Thassa showed, the storms that Kurnos sank ships, the beasts that killed innocents, and the soldiers honorably, or like dishonorably, killing everyone. All the gods, their greatest devoted people that they depend on throughout the day, at one point in time, went against the deity. And he shows them all these souls, the moments in their deaths, not the souls themselves, but the masks that tell the story. And kind of indicating that we all need to do better than just blessing.
Thassa, seeing this, it's kind of a slight scoff into a cruel smile briefly. You've made your point, brother. I warned Heliod time and again that he couldn't cling onto any kind of eternal order, that anything that we created would eventually fall. And he is laid low by mortals now. And with our aid. I admit to being upset at many of the events that have transpired here. The sundering of my oceans was a shock. But now they're spread among the stars, and my realm is wider than ever. I think we need to consider whether our intervention will result in a better future. I feel confident that most of my creatures will weather the storm. And sorry, sister, like pointed to Karametra, that some of your fields have withered. Perhaps people can learn new methods. So it's not a no, but I, for one, require assurances that any action we take will result in something better than just letting things go.
I tend to agree. Well, I think in this scheme of life and death and rebirth, that perhaps the sun may set on our influence. And perhaps that's a good thing. Perhaps there are newer, fresher, different ideas that would fit in this world in a way that ours simply would not.
A new order to nature you prescribe?
I do trust these rapscallions.
You're definitely right about a new order. And suddenly the room kind of shudders and there's like a light from the back of the hall. It kind of fills the room with such a bright light for the moment that everyone is blinded, and just for a moment. And when the light kind of subsides, there is a flaming pool of like a flaming spiral, as though a controlled flame. And from inside of that flame steps a humanoid figure, the grand size of you all. This figure is adorned and bronzed and that of a soldier. Similar to a centurion, he's got his crest, long flowing cape, sword on his side. His skin is dark from the sun, olive, but the centurion mask pulls in so closely that it's hard to see anything beyond his burning eyes. And his skin has a flick to it, almost like in certain patches it's reptilian. And 5 chains emit from his back, and those bronze chains link up, and they just link up into the heavens, out into the Nyx. And he says, and he plucks an apple off of the kind of the closest table and takes a bite. Delicious. Kind of drops into I wanted to take on a form that kind of fit the, I like the starting to get used to the humanoid look. Sorry I'm late, Crewfix. I heard the call. So what is it that we were talking about here? The new age and all? As Thraxis has joined the party.
The changing times.
They're definitely changing. Sorry, I know I'm a little new to this club. Nylea, I love the green and all, and the birds, and Thassa, what you've done with the crab claws, it's good on you. What are we talking about? Hopefully not little old me.
Actually, no.
Yeah.
About a group that gives us hope instead of destruction.
The eyes behind that mask roll. The reptilian yellow eyes. Hope. I think all the hope we all need is sitting in this room. And I
It's
don't.
not only about power.
Enlighten me, Nylea.
Seeking too much power, too much greed, you throw things out of balance. You have to understand that there are some things you simply can't control.
What do you think, Rufix? How about you, Karanos? Can you control the
Karanos-
storms? Can you?
Karanos doesn't say anything. He takes his hands so you can see him, right, and he goes just like this. He pulls them apart, and it's his lightning bolt, and he just points the lightning bolt at him and says, "One more word, little brother, and off with your tongue. There is time to speak, and there is time to listen."
Rufix. It's cute. The lightning man. You can certainly try. Can I call you brother? Do you not know? He kind of flexes for a moment, and those chains, like this kinetic energy, kind of like rolls through them as they kind of flutter. Do you not know what these are attached to? Do you not know why Clothis does not attend this meeting? Looking over at Krufix. Do I have...
Rufix's one of his left hands touches the table again, and another pattern kind of gets placed, almost making like the star symbol, showing the gate and the four titans, the four primordials, I should say.
Call them Titans
my
if you
bad.
want. 5.
Yeah.
Whichever you wish.
These are part of your power.
They are mine. Mine to wield, mine to control. And I simply came here to tell you all that I am with you. If your plan is to, like I hope, destroy the god beyond the Nyx, I'd love for you all to be on my side as I wage war with this being. It will require that you all fall in line. I know Heliot tried to create an hierarchy and failed miserably. One that I will not fail at doing. Not going to force anything on you. Not today. I'm here for diplomacy. I wouldn't want to ruin this palace on day one of my inauguration as Sun God. But just saying, I'm not on this being side. So, if you're with me, I'm willing to have you work with me to win this fight. And if when this god is dead, then if you want to still be cross with me, we can do it however you'd like then. And he's just kind of being pompous, yeah.
Rufix's eyes kind of look to the rest of the gods, kind of trying to get their expressions, like the guttural reaction from each of them. First starting with Athreos.
Well, I got a question for the good old DM. Does he have the spear?
He does have Heliot's spear in his hand as well.
Does it look like it's truly obeying him?
All intents and purposes, it does.
Okay. Even though his face is cloaked by the tattered veil, he hasn't really taken his eyes off the chains that are floating up. He kind of just keeps looking over Thrax's head and every now and then tilts its head up towards the sky, seeing the chains go off into the Nyx and
So Athreos, if you're
beyond.
looking at where they go, you can actually see them. Like, I was just kind of like imagine from where the pavilion view, but if you were to look out, you can see that like floating right out of like your view. They're attached to these like coffin like shaped crystalline like the best thing I can describe them is almost like coffin shaped or tombs, like floating tombs, each of them a different color, a red, black, white, green, a blue, and with Athreos probably taking many trips to the underworld, knowing the levels of THEROS that Clothis resided in, where she had placed those titans. These are the titans' tombs, and they are attached to him. Clothis would have never taken such power and would have never dreamed of trying to wield them. But yeah, here it is. I will ask for insight checks for the gods. You all have a plus 30 to your roll.
All right.
What's our passive?
All numbers are fake. Let's just
40. Let's go.
44.
Okay.
Plus 30. Mary
Jesus.
Joseph.
35.
A lot. Like a lot.
45.
So I'm gonna take
49.
the Hobbit. 49. Is that the highest?
49
49.
is the highest. Yeah.
49. Athreos, Clothis was a being of balance, and I can't say I can give this to you exactly right now, like verbatim, but I think that Athreos knows that Clothis, because she's a balance and because kind of had her reasons for why she would never take any of the Titans' power. I think there's also another I know that there is another reason, and you know there is another reason, because even though one could wield the power of the Titans in this way, Athreos knows that it is quite dangerous what Thraxis is doing. And so with that, not Athreos knows that there is a chink in the armor, in Thraxis' armor. Of course, probably wouldn't share that with Thraxis with him in the room, but Athreos is able to, the silent one in the room is able to spot that. So I'll let you keep that, and maybe I'll share what that is a little bit later. So, but use that if it helps. Use that. You know that. So he is not as mighty as he perceives, similar to the haughtiness of Heliod. At the same time, he's definitely on another level than Heliod at this point.
Yeah. Seeing Kronos, make his lightning bolt, and feeling the very thick tension in this room, Athreos taps his staff on the ground again twice, and in that same bowl, a visage of a silhouetted deity indicating this god beyond, and kind of asking Thraxis what his plan is to deal with them.
And so, as does this Thraxis kind of gives this response of, well, I have the very power that the being wants. I, with your help, with a unified front, we attack the void head on. The being exists just on the other side. It is spoken to me. I know Phoenix. I see what he is now. We, as all of our gods, we can destroy it, and with my power and with me as leading the assault, we could get this done. And go back to the Theros that you all want, instead of speaking of moving into new ages and possibly drifting away into obscurity. So it sounds like his plan is to fight.
Full on attack.
Yes.
The moment he was like united front, after it was his like posture kind of got up, but the moment he was like, I lead it, and I'm like, yeah, okay, nope, not anymore. You got Iros over here that literally has fought trillions of fights. Like, not happening.
A
You
fight.
seem so overconfident for a god so young.
Did she say that or think or say?
She says that.
It is all right. I know. Like I said, I can feel myself being the odd one in the room, but you just have to be, when you've done what I've done, you just kind of have to stand on your principles here. And I have the power of 5 gods, and 6 if you include myself. So I think that puts me at the, let's not also. And I think I don't think he would say this, but I think with the insight of the gods, what they would understand, because they're gods, they've been around for centuries, and with being around for eons and ages, they also know that the dragon, they are so few in Theros, but the ones that do exist are kind of like mini gods of their own right. They probably would have a lot more power if they were worshipped more. And in that way, with knowing that this is a dragon, and a red one at that, it kind of fits that he would be so bold and so brazen. In that way, so Thraxis is definitely no god, but has lived for some ages and has been around for many, many centuries. And so you can take that with a grain of salt. It still makes him foolish, as you say, Nylea, and you are right to assess his foolishness. But you're also able to understand it. It is definitely, is the dragon in him that is also the reason he is this way.
I would urge you caution, sir, for a hothead may work for a while, but it certainly didn't do your predecessor any good. You'd hate to end up where he did.
And Karanos just laughs at that, and he puts his hands on his hips, and he's just stroking the dragon codpiece buckle that he has. That was a good one.
I'll give you that. You get the feeling that as he looks around, I was halfway expecting a fight just walking in this room. But all will be proven in its time. I'm not one to talk. My actions speak loudly. If you want to speak to me further, You only need to seek me at the palace of the sun itself. But it seems that I get it. You all need a little chance to, let me grow on you a bit. So I'll leave you to it.
At this
Before
point,
you go,
oh, let's hear from Prefix.
a question that I have for you. Have you received any dreams recently?
Krufix, I sleep no longer. I have no need for such things.
I see. Thank you for the answer.
So, sensing he's about to go, Thassa stands and comes alongside him, lays a hand on his shoulder, and as that happens, the heat from his body sends up steam, like crackling, bubbling steam from the water off of hers.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "We may have to work on moderating your hot temper, little brother. But I was looking for assurances. With you as the tip of the spear, and with," she looks back to the others, "some other support, I'll place myself at your disposal."
He seems almost completely shocked. Almost like the first time, she went to touch him, he like kind of flinched, but then the hand touch and the sizzle happened, and as she was speaking, she can almost like feel his body kind of like literally warm up to her, but just kind of let down his guard a little bit. And he goes, "Yes."
We face a crisis with this god beyond the Nyx that could destroy all of us. We need to deal with it. And then we can think of the future.
You are right. And he reaches out to kind of like touches her shoulder on the other side. Said, "See? She understands. She gets it. And you and I will continue to talk. The sun will rise on your seas, and I will be I am better than Heliod. I know this. But I will tell you this." And he kind of like says this just to Thassa. When we get through this, when we go back to setting order, the seas, the sun, and the land, there are a couple of them that I don't know if we are going to need any longer. I am just saying that that's how I feel now. Or, better yet, some of them that probably won't be strong enough to bet, won't make it all the way through this. How does...
told Heliod, everything changes.
It is inevitable. He turns to everyone, and he pulls off his hat, or his helmet, As he pulls the helmet off, he has the resemblance of Penthos is still there. He still looks like Proxenos' father. As a god, he has taken that visage for the most part. And he nods, and goes up in flame and a bright light, and is gone. And he's gone, and so this is a chance. No trickery, not still around the gods. Is there any last? How do they kind of conclude this meeting before we take a break?
Well, finally that sunset.
Well,
Ugh.
before the gods decide to leave, Athreos starts making clay figures. And these figures, most people will recognize. It's couple satyrs, centaur, a bull of some type that walks upright, and some other ones as well. Sets them on the table, and then behind them, more clay figures, but this time it's one of us. All of us. And the clay figures behind them have their arms out. And he uses his own magic to indicate that the ones behind are feeding the others their power. You get the sense that Athreos is in full support and is willing to die for the bullies to succeed. Because she knows what just walked in and out of this room is not our brother. And looks over to Crewfix and just points up and indicating the chains and the tombs that were up there.
Crewfix nods, and in a more quiet voice, he says to the gods that are still here listening, the god beyond the Nyx is a threat that will destroy Theros as we speak now. But a being that is messing with powers that are not something one can control will begin a new chain or chains leading to a terrible ruin. I cannot see the strands because he kind of pauses as he is. You find that it's even a little hard for Crewfix himself to say it. Clothis is no longer with us. Like that one spouted out in all his narcissistic glory. one that revels in killing one's brother or sister should not be brought in with open arms. For if we have knives at each other's backs, there would be no brother to call brother or sister to call sister. There would only be enemies on all sides.
Well, it's tempting to seek his aid to destroy this god beyond the Nyx. I am concerned about him growing more powerful. And I sense that he will stop at nothing until he is the most powerful, and we are gone.
Farah chimes in. She says, I know that this god beyond the Nyx, this phoenix, I know that he is strong. But I see him moving very slowly. And what I just saw, the display and the neglect of power that Thraxes just showed, I find him to be the greater threat. And I wonder, I'm just saying, Crewfix, if we were to vote now, I would vote that he dies first.
Either way, I'll lead with my spear.
Asa, what do you say on this matter? Looking over.
Well, to those of you who are worried about treachery on my part, you should know better. I've never been interested in your schemes anyway. I think what we may have just met was a useful idiot. Flame that burns brightly burns quickly. And if we can use him to solve a problem, it may be better for us.
Crewfix looks at you with acknowledgement to what you've just said.
Yeah, I will say, having said this, Thassa has been flopping back and forth, and probably should be hard for you to believe either one of her perspectives.
Yeah. By the way, Thassa's one of my favorites. she's so badass.
I harbor similar feelings, Atherios. The hope that these individuals bring, looking at the clay figures that he's brought to the table, are a hope for all of us. As unlikely as it may have seemed at first, I find that there is something welling up from me. A belief in them. I have shared what powers I had to them.
So,
And their mission I truly believe will set things right. I do not have the divination or a prophecy. I just have a belief.
Karametra weighs in. I hear this talk back and forth, this going after this god beyond the Nyx, or this Thraxes. But what I keep hearing a lot of, are you saying that from the time of the Archons, we as gods, we put our foot down, we stepped in? Are you saying that we should all step back and simply channel our power into these 6 or 7 champions down in the somewhere in the underworld? Is there some action that we should take while we do believe in them? Or are we just to sit back and wait by and see if they succeed?
Perhaps we could make the things they're seeking easier to find. Help guide their path. Perhaps a helpful nudge in the right direction.
And Kronos goes, brothers and sisters, as much fun as this game has been, it is rather tiresome. We keep going in circles. So, why not believe in those who made us possible? And then he looks at Thassa and he says, sister, wise sister, although I would love to cut his head off and stick his tongue down his throat, I believe you do have a point about the idiot. He may well very be useful. And then he doesn't say anything, he just lets the lightning just surge all over his body.
Yes. Yes. Kronos saying this. Hearing the perspectives of the other gods as Kufix rises. We shall have one guide the bullies to the chains that are holding the power of Thraxes. We let the spear take the front to the god beyond. As Iroas, you command and take charge of the field from there. As we set up for the true change, and the rest of us will know when the time has come to take that action. Kind of giving a knowing nod to the rest of you saying this. No more needs to be said on this, I believe.
And with that, the gods nod and go their separate ways. As they disperse, we will take a 5-minute break and play our last scene of tonight as the Bronze Bullies.
Oh my god.
So we get to town and it's like, what's up, Apple?
So
How you
we're
girl doing? I've had a new job now. I'm the dead end.
I'm gonna have to
I'll
go
be
back
right
and rewatch that entire exchange so that I can re-listen to everything everybody says and translate it. It's gonna be interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting good things there.
But like, so we're only sending Iroas and Mogus with Theraxes after Phoenix.
Yeah,
That's what I just heard.
that's
what I
like.
heard too. So it sounds like we're sending like all the warriors after into the void, and then which is interesting, and then everyone else is waiting for their time, and then supporting and channeling their power to the bronze bullies. It seems like kind of everyone is.
Yeah.
So a lot of passive choices. Yeah. Okay.
Well, kind of hard to like.
I understand you. You
fucking
have no
talking
abilities.
a bunch of shit. Like honestly, what I really wanted to say was like, hey, how about one of us, like
I purposely
take on a fucking chain.
I purposely did not give you all stats because I knew without stats you would be less likely to fight. But I wanted to see if you were going to be like, forget stats, let's throw hands. Like
that's what I put in the chat. I'm like, can I kill him now?
Yeah, I was ready. It was ready to go.
Yeah.
And somebody said no, not yet.
I was just waiting for somebody to just like, because I literally thought that was going to devolve into a fight against Theraxes. I was like, oh my god, if I introduce Theraxes, they're going to fight him. I even probably tried to make him a little more restrained so that if they did fight, it would be on you. But it was like, okay, that could be interesting. It could turn into something.
Yeah. It's also such a struggle because there are things that I want to happen, but I was trying to role play what Thassa would do.
And I appreciate that so much. I appreciate that so much. So when we come back from break, I'm gonna hand out some piety. But yeah, definitely inspiration to Colin, her playing Thassa in a very the way I think Thassa would have played that situation and not been like the bronze bullies are great because she hasn't really had any buy-in on the bronze bullies. She's
to be fair, Athreos just wants to die because he's technically not an original god.
Oh,
yeah.
He was the first human killed that the gods bestowed power upon. He's wanting to fucking die.
He
was like, yeah, no, let's go.
Also brought something up that I have been in conflict. I probably would have said that I've been in conflict whether the gods know this. And I personally think that so the way I like to translate it is I think that maybe Athreos knows it, but as Athreos says it, I think it falls on deaf ears. I think all the gods know subconsciously that their power comes from the mortals and comes from the prayer and the belief in them. But I think they do not. I think if you ask Nylea or Iroas, do you believe that the mortals made us? They will say no, we made the mortals. But I think Athreos and maybe Krufix know that like the mortals came first and that they, made the gods. And so I think there was some hinting at that in those conversations. But I wonder if all the gods were on the same page with that of being like, does our power really come from? Not really. Like
I was literally trying to like convey like, hey, we have to sacrifice ourselves. Our time has come.
Yeah, I can hear you saying that. And like that was like it was interesting.
I can't fucking describe that.
Your plan, like Athreos' plan was like new pantheon. We give it all. And actually Nylea said a little bit of that. She's like, if we're meant to go, we're meant to go. So I felt there was several conflicting real big on like the
ideas. Cycle of life. Shit.
Yeah, she's like,
and
it's my like time.
Also, as Karanos, I mean, what is the purpose of a storm? Like, you can't always be storming, so it's gonna happen.
Nylea was a little bit more sassy than I envisioned. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I know. I had to really reel it in because there's the Fitz side of me, and I was like, this is not Fitz. You can't just act like you're a bronze bully.
I was like, is Nylea about to throw hands right now? Shit.
The thought crossed my mind, but that's a very much a bronze bully behavior.
I was like, Jason's probably gonna fucking do it, Renee.
I almost traded for Mogus before we started, and if I would have,
if you'd have traded for Mogus,
I knew it. Like if I was thinking, like if Mogus was here,
it would have been a very narrative combat.
He walked in.
But I was also sitting here like Iroas is not that side of the war, so I gotta sit here and be like, we haven't declared war on this guy. He came with diplomacy, like
right. And that's that's why I felt conflicted, even though he's so pompous. Like,
if Perforos would have been here,
if he wasn't Hellion 2.0, then it
would have been like, let's do this.
Yeah.
It'd have been fast brother time.
I don't know. I tried my best with the last guy kind of ended up in the dirt. Don't follow in his path.
This is the dragon who had collected for centuries all the riches and treasures of Theros in the mountain, had Perforos's favor, then beat Penthos, then took his family, then took the city.
And then we
he
beat
just
his
wants
ass
to.
and took his gold.
Yeah.
I really, as a threat, wanted to make like, all right, I described making Xenagos's mask and just handing it to him. But I'm like, Atheros isn't that badass. Sorry.
I
Yeah,
think
heard the
Mel
talk
has
was
taught
really
us
good.
one important thing throughout this whole game. Don't become the sun because you're going to wind up an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So yeah,
The
good
world
stuff.
literally revolves around you.
So, let me get some water. I'll be right back.
All right.
All right.
Ay.
Oh,
Colin, I will
man.
say, a perfect Thassa. Like, holy
Oh,
shit.
thank you.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
I
this
was-
bitch.
I was reading up
Sure.
on Thassa and because Mel told me, he's like, all right, you're gonna play Karanos. Can you do that? I was just like, yeah, sure. And then I'm flipping through the book, like reading. I'm like, ooh, okay. Here's the connections.
Yeah, I was waiting for that love
Nice.
affair to pop out. It's all good.
There's still time later.
There is still time after dark.
Oh, is that going to be the next campaign? It's Theros After Dark.
I mean,
Oh,
you was
no.
already out here posing and stroking your dragon. I was like, oh no,
God,
oh no.
the word. Oh, man. Different terminology.
I was
Should've
like,
been
did
used.
Eddie show? What happened? That's not Eddie. That's Renee.
Stroking the cod. It was a cod piece, too, for fuck's
Mhm.
sakes.
It says it's his buckle, but I mean, if you look at
Always.
the artwork, it's a big dragon skull that's just right there. I'm like, oh, this is too good. This was just like this was insta handed to me for jokes.
Yeah, I just didn't want to start. I didn't want to take all the battles away from the bullies either. So I was like, the bullies
No.
want to beat
Honestly,
dragons.
I was waiting for Nick, like when he was at the end of the whole thing, like when Crewfix was giving the speech, like, someone will guide them, like, okay, we're in the underworld. Obviously, that's my
Yeah.
domain. I'll
Yeah.
go do that. And like him give out orders to everyone, and then Mal be like, all right, so what do they do to help the bullies in this way?
Yeah, nope, just 2 orders, just guide,
Yep.
and Iroh, let's go stab something. Like, all right,
Mhm.
Take
Iroh,
that
let's
damn
go stab.
shield and spear, shove it up their ass.
Then it's like Batman disappeared.
Out.
I'm just curious if the bullies will come. Like, I did not know how much shit Athreos had in the underworld. So I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Shit. He has a pet.
Like, what?
He has a version of Cerberus.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should just give that to
It
us.
just roams the underworld.
That might be a problem.
It's a feral dog. Okay. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
might be a new pet.
Mm.
Oh yeah, Fitz will love that.
She's just gonna start collecting monsters.
I'm sure this giant dog and Kai will get along just fine.
It's fine. Look at you put a chain around the dog with the dragon chained to it flying. It's a perfect walking pet. There you go. The dragon walks the dog. They're done.
Okay, I was like, where we going with these chains, my guy? Gotta be careful every time you mention dragon now. I'm like, where you taking this?
By the way, how big is Kai now?
Big.
Like,
She's technically large, but the way Mal describes her, probably more like huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like takes up
So-
the
The deck of the hammerhead.
yeah.
so
Yeah.
no longer worm, but now full on like young.
No, she can
or-
fuck shit
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, she's a young adult. Yeah.
She's a young adult.
Yeah,
Ooh.
she's a young dragon.
Her
That's
her
big.
breath attack is fucking ugh.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Every time Nikki does it, it's like shit, I don't have that many die yet. I'm like, I
Let
keep
me-
forgetting. I'm thinking it's like 4d6 at max. Like, nah. That was forever ago.
Oh.
It's 16d6.
It's hard to keep in perspective because, like, comparing her to like one of our characters, it's
Oh.
like She can come,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
16.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
if we went back to like level 3, Kai would be a problem.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
just wrong.
Well, and now I can't directly command her. Like, I have to convince her like an NPC.
Well,
So I
because
can't.
she's a teenager.
Uh-huh.
And she speaks languages now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know
Or
if Mal said
understands them.
she can understand what we're
Yeah.
saying, but
Yeah,
she
can
can't.
understand them.
Fucking let's kill the dragon and be like, what?
That's why I gave her the pep talk about her dad
That's a-
being an evil dragon.
A good thing we got past the whole like, do we trust this dragon? Now it's like we kind of have to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're good.
We've
Right?
trauma bonded. I'm sure we're fine.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Man, I kind of wish Perveros didn't die because I wanted to see how he would react to that whole thing now, damn it.
Oh no, we was
Yeah.
fighting for sure.
It would have been
If
if
Perforos
Josh was
was
here, it
here-
would have been a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Focus
no,
was
that's what
here. We was fighting.
that's
Either
what I said.
way.
Like, if Perforos would still be there, like he and Karanos were like, it's tag team. It's like demolition or
What does everybody want? Perforos out here.
Just out of nowhere, shoulder pads come out. Like, what?
one of them going, what a rush.
Mal,
Care
that
mantra.
that was a bit stressful. God
It was,
meeting.
man, it was stressful. It was like, yeah, like I think I was, yeah, that
Because
was,
everything you said was binding.
yeah.
You
I
gotta
was
think
like,
about some shit.
they're like, I was like, come on, guys, Meaty's like, let it out. And I could tell that and that's when I started realizing halfway through it, I was like, oh, they're really thinking this through because of the way I set it up. I probably shouldn't even have said any of that.
Like, whatever you say
Just
is
like,
contract
yeah.
signed, sealed.
I know. So
delivered.
next time I'd be like, yeah, just play the gods for this scene, and then after be like, yeah, all that shit y'all did,
That's real. Well, now we know.
Well,
You
I felt
can't
like-
bamboozle us.
I feel like a lot of us were like, how do we play the god?
yes,
The way the
Right.
god would be
yes,
played.
yes.
And then how do we also like benefit our
Benefit from
original characters, but without going like, hey, I give the bronze bullies like this dope ass weapon.
Yeah. That's part of where I was like, I don't know how I could have her help more. She already gave her weapon away and keeps like giving
I
them
think-
boons.
I think, yeah,
Like, I like the idea of her like finding the path for them to get where they need to go most quickly, but because that seems like something she'd be able to
She'd
do,
be
but I
doing.
don't know what her abilities are. I know she could turn people into trees out of spite.
yeah. I probably should have made that more clear because I think what
Dog
I was
shield.
wondering is, as gods, not how they're going to benefit the bronze bullies, but what they would be doing, what they would actually do. So I think a lot of the
Yeah.
course of action around like being like, oh, we're going to send Iroas to do this, we're going to send Mogus to do this. Those are the things that like gods can always benefit their champions, but what they're actually doing in the meantime, other than sitting around, is what I wanted to kind of know their course of action.
Didn't they just basically come back into being after being like shut out from the world because of the silence?
They were still around. They just couldn't. They could communicate with each other all day long. They just haven't been able to communicate with their champions. They haven't been able to communicate with the mortals of the world and like really do like the kind of petty stuff gods would do. Like, oh, I'll have this kid and like I'll use this person to do this for me. You know, they haven't been able to do that. So. And the only reason Krufix did that is so that the god beyond the Nyx, the god beyond the Nyx couldn't do the same thing because the god was doing it at a pace that was really was happening too fast. And what we know is that the god beyond the Nyx is using a different form of. So think about how you all use piety in the form of reverence and prayer. The god beyond the Nyx has been using essentially fear.
That's what I was
So
gonna say. I'm like, it has to be fear.
it's just feeding on fear. And so fear right now is in more abundance than all the reverence stuff. And so Krufix was like, whoa, slow it down since he's feeding on fear. We got to mitigate some of this before we bring the gods back into play. And so it's kind of... So
Oh my God,
now
yeah.
the gods have full reign to like call their champions. So for example, in that conversation, had had Nylea say it, or have someone say it, Thassa say, I'll bring my champ, because Thassa has no champions in the Bronze Bullies technically right now, because even Persis is a Perforos champion, right? So Thassa might say, I'm sending my champions on a mission. Those champions are not Bronze Bullies, but you're putting something in play
Bruh,
that
my champion is being a little bitch on the boat. What am I supposed to
that's
do?
one. When I'm giving you the authority, it's like,
Is
do
he?
you really think that Irois has one champion?
Yo,
In all
Irois
of
doesn't
the
only
world.
have one champion, but Irois doesn't fuck with the world. He's
Yeah,
too
that's true.
busy
So, yeah.
fighting Mogus.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck about the world like that. Like he has his games,
And
and then like he likes when there's wars. He likes the victory
Rufus is
side.
saying maybe y'all should
but-
slow it down and
You
go
could have
fight.
straight up been like Bear Clan. You're
Yeah.
promoted back.
Exactly. So it gives it just but what I got was good. I think I think there was a wealth
Yeah,
of
apparently Irois is
information in
fighting
that
Crufix. Or
conversation.
fighting, not Crufix,
So
fighting.
we now
Yeah, Crufix first, but then be next.
Mhm.
it was a good idea also to see where the gods kind of stood on things and the way you all played them. So I think that was totally cool.
Dasa needs to be
and
killed. She going on the shit list. We good to go.
She always siding with the sun, man.
She is a little bit more. She was more in tune, at least where the lore says, with Elliot. She doesn't, but it is like, and I think you played her perfectly because she doesn't see.
Yeah.
She treats Elliot the same way, in that she's like, she lets him say he's the king and stuff, but like it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, Thassa knows that like shit's gonna pop off however it does anyway, because the sea is that way, right? It's going to all change, and Elliot can say he's
Well
top
said.
dog all he wants. And so she just allows him to do that. And she benefits from it. So while the other gods like push against, you know. So.
Just because if like there was a civil war, I'm pretty sure Thassa would be prime Umar Nomo like to be taken out. She has too many fucking Krakens.
She would be tough to take out. She'd be a really tough one to take out too.
Way
Because
too
there's
many
there's a
sea
sea and then there's an astral sea, and then she's got her blade is made by Perforos, so she's got buy-in with Perforos, she's got buy-in with Heliod, she's got buy-in with a lot of gods, so Top Boss is a pretty interesting one for sure. Yeah, so if she at the moment when it was happening, I was like, she's definitely like kind of playing, kind of pumping him up a little bit. But if she was to side with Thraxes, that'd be oof. You guys would be in trouble. If it was like, I mean, we started with like
Not if we get Perforos
bowl
back.
of soup,
Fucker
you'll die
created
in a
that
bowl
thing.
of soup. Let's.
Yeah, we kind of need him. He made my lightning bolt. Kind of want him back.
That's why I was like, there's a spear, because I know he has Heliod spear. Is that thing like obeying him? Because if not, fuck that dude and the wings he rode in on.
Let's see. I know we started about 7:30, so I think we have a little more time in us for tonight. And I know Nikki's away, so just taking it slowly as a build up here.
Guess while we wait, a question for you, Mel. The song that you used for the like cold open, is that should that be a piece of music that I know of?
It is the one I used for the cold open was. Man, I literally forgot which one I started with. It's an Epidemic Sounds track. If I go back and watch the track, I can. It's not like from a movie or anything. It's not.
No, not from the cold open today, but the one that you use like when we have credits, because it was playing in the end of the gods.
Yes, I did play the last. So the track towards the end of the session was the track that I used for the bronze for this one, the Bronze Bullies opening.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah. Was there? So yeah, that is.
What is that?
That's called. Let me find it here. I so funny. I had just found it too, and you would think I would know the name of it off the top of my head because I just looked at it. But sometimes I'm like literally going off of. We'll find it here shortly. It's not called the Siren Song. I think it's called Thunder. I think it's called the Thunderstorm.
Okay.
and it's kind of become the THEROS, the sound of like the Bronze Bullies, and so I felt it was just kind of appropriate to play there towards the end of that scene, especially since we didn't do credits today. I was like, it kind of like works with that. But yeah, if you have questions about it or why, were you asking something else about like why I used it or?
I was just curious what song it was.
Yeah.
It sounded like it might have been like something classical.
I literally don't know if it comes from something, because like because all the Epidemic Sounds tracks that I use, they are what do you call them? They're copyright like free.
Royalty
Royalty-free music.
Yeah.
So I pay for like that service to use. So I've been using more of that so that I'll like, because a lot of times what was happening is, when I was using all my Spotify playlists, is we were getting struck with copyrights. So then like the video was being partially banned or parts of it were being cut out. And so then parts of you guys talking were getting cut out by YouTube. And so by using this service, so it just kind of mitigates all that. So every now and then I'll still go for it and like use a song, because I just don't use them that often. So I usually know they'll probably like let me get away with it. But yeah, that's what it was, the Bronze Bullies.
Now that we're speaking about music, I don't know, I was messing with Troy last week. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but I was hearing that Gangsta's Paradise, and then I said to Troy, and Troy was hearing it too.
It was Gangsta's Paradise in an epic, epic remix.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, yo,
I was doing it on
throwing
purpose.
something at me like that.
I was doing that on purpose. Yeah, I like that version of Gangsta's Paradise.
I gotta say, like, I agree with Colin. Like that intro for the Bronze Bullies, it's been nice, especially when I just checked in my notebook. The last time I played with y'all, August 26th, 2023.
You've been gone for a minute.
6 months. 6 months.
This has been a while.
So I don't know if this means you'll be playing with us more or not. No pressure, but you know we're still here every 2 weeks, and we are in like kind of like the final arc of this game, and it's appropriate to
We've
have.
been saying for 6 months.
For 6 months, yeah.
We got like 4. Are we on? Are we back yet? We got breaks still.
That's Apple for today.
So we got like
Sweet, I'm
4
finally
more.
Lion-O.
Yeah.
Hey.
Nice.
We got like 4 more humans if you want to come in and grab
Yeah.
somebody. Not all. We can figure it out.
A lot of good choices.
So as they get off their little gondola ride, entering the underworld officially now, the Bronze Bullies find themselves in an atmosphere where the sky hangs in this perpetual state of twilight, and there are, massive ruins of stone and iron structures that dot the landscape. And of course they are heading towards Elysia, but just on the shores, just stepping off. This is not Elysia yet. And so, what appear to be birds in the sky, flocks of them, looking a bit closely, you realize are like packs of chimeras or manticores. So skies are a deadly place for someone like Kai, who would just like maybe zip past them. The rivers kind of bubble and steam, and the black sandy shores are kind of right under that first layer of sand. You kind of notice the soles of your sandals or your shoes or your boots kind of pressing against something hard and stone-like. And as the wind blows by and that sand sifts a bit, you realize that there are stone faces, like as far as the eye can see, like these, as those people were stacked on each other side by side, their faces in anguish, you standing on those faces, those open eyes, those petrified mouths gaping open. Apple shares with you, who's been here for a while, that those are the Misera, people who have not, basically who walk the shores of the Phileas, this area of there's Phileas, the actual city, but the just the shores of Calphilius as well. And those who have died so many times, countless number of times, trying to find where their resting place is supposed to be, they eventually sink into the ground. Sometimes they petrify, and sometimes they sink and they become part of the very ground you walk on. So every face that you walk on was a person, a being, a soul lost to the underworld. Not to take away from anything that you all will share here, but Apple shares that after your sacrifice, your soul was shot across the Nyx, and you arrived where Elysia should be, but there was no Elysia. And so Apple has been here for a time he can't even really quantify, but what he's tried to do is help those souls who have been lost, and you've been able to help a few. You can say who those are, to at least putting them on the path of their destination, because these shores are dangerous and many creatures roam Phileas, devouring souls even. One in particular has been hunting Appo. The Morthax, the worm of the soul-eating worm. And every time the earth tremors or shudders, Apple wonders if that beast is nearby. But I'll stop there, give a chance for the bronze bullies to reacquaint themselves as I imagine, let me know if I'm taking too many liberties here, as I imagine that Sophia is raising that lantern to get a fix on where to travel towards Elysia. I'll turn it over to the bronze bullies and see what they say.
Have we like disembarked from our ship? And
Yes,
we're, like,
you are,
walking.
because you're no longer on the ship. Because remember, you have to leave the ship to get on the little gondola with the little man. You've like the little ferryman. You've taken that. You're on the shores. So everybody who's on the shores, everybody who got off that ship, you guys have got that map that speaks to you sometimes, and that's
and then
it.
Appo met us on the shoreline,
shore.
Basically.
Yes, and then Zandali came with you. I didn't make you. I know Fitz charisma would have been high enough to get her to go. She looks around, kind of mostly wearing her helmet, so the shielding her face. Did you all want Medios to come?
Nah.
Do we want to leave Bear Clan as well?
Basically, I'm not even making charisma. I'm not even making persuasion checks. If you say they want to come, I'm gonna put them on. They're gonna be with you on this.
Yeah. I don't
Bear
know about the
Clan.
dragon.
We need at
Oh,
least.
so
like,
you
what,
don't know about you? You're
4?
thinking about leaving Kai?
I want to take Kai with me, but I don't know if she'd listen to me. I think I have to roll for it.
Okay, fair enough. For the yep. So let's make a persuasion for Kai.
We need what? 4 people to fire a Magnella, right?
5.
5.
3 to load, 2 to fire.
All right, then we need at least 5 people on the ship.
3 for the trebuchet.
We have
Kai didn't roll too
3 Acroians,
Okay.
right? 3 or 4.
I rolled a 30.
high. Okay, you beat Kai. Oh, actually, she gets it. Advantage. You still beat Kai.
Okay. Then I guess she's coming with us.
Yeah. And she seems to go like she's not begrudging. She's kind of like, yeah, like it seems like her
This is more fun.
mannerisms
Come
are
on.
like this would definitely be more fun than being on the ship. Like,
Yeah. You don't want to be in timeout. Come on. Get in on the action.
Or like walks underneath Kai, like, and just kind of like rubs at the chin.
Do you remember Uncle Appo?
it,
He
Kai,
died. Kind of a tragic suicidal death, actually.
Kai kind of snaps at the hand after like kind of like a bit, and then a huge claw slapping the back Apple, like almost like knocking him to the ground, and then like dragging him in under her arm as like a halfway hug, halfway holding him, and then like throws him back in the dirt, kind of like rough tumble kind of play.
That means she missed you, I think. Mm-hmm. Which,
I'll
by the
accept
way,
that.
we all did. Did you know we were coming, or is this just a happy coincidence?
So I think at this point he can say, I don't know how much time passed, so I wasn't sure if you were coming.
Oh,
Where I was meant to go was not there. So the
Oh.
things that we did had even more of an effect than we thought.
yeah, quite far-reaching. I think we're kind of trying to fix some of that. You're welcome to tag along with us if you want.
Apple, I will add that, you do. The reason you were standing on the shores is because it's the time that you have been here. It feels like it's been too long. You had met an oracle by the name of Samai, and she would often get these visions, and she's the one that told you that the bullies were coming. And so while you stay on the shores, you've been also, while you're running from this beast, you've been kind of coming to this shore in kind of hopes that they like arrive. She kind of told you the general time, but then a week ago she clawed her eyes out after the connection. Was Google going crazy in my room? After she lost all connection to the gods, and so that is so with her going mad, you still came to the shores daily, and today was the day that you met back up with your friends. By all
So I
means,
had met an
Apple
oracle.
is still he's still in the underworld where he should be dead, and therefore his time with you all, as you would probably assume, is only while you're here, unless you are all to free him from his binds. He is bound to the underworld while you are only visiting, unless you all die here, and then you will be bound as well.
Fabulous.
It's good to see you. Can't wait to fight side by side. As Bartholomew kind of gives you that like fist to the chest, kind of like, like boom.
Has Apo seen Apex at all down here?
Apple has not, because Apex died a while ago, a little bit before Apple, right? Like a long time before. Not a long time in the grand scheme of like how long this has been going on, but in that time, remember Apex was in Elysia when it was thrown into.
Okay.
So he's never seen him because he's never actually. Apple's never gone beyond that first level.
Yeah, that first level. Okay.
So he's been Atheros is a part of the Stranded, like, you know what I'm saying? He didn't make it, and in a strange way, he still made it to the underworld, whereas a lot of people were just stranded where they are. But your divine way, you had a shot, so you landed on the shores, unlike Medios, who just stayed floating in the middle of nowhere. It's almost like Atherios is and Atherios, we all know, kind of, everybody doesn't know this, maybe Apple doesn't know this, but we know that Atherios has been guiding certain souls, right? He can't be everywhere at once, so him and his ferrymen have been going out and getting the strongest and guiding them to where they need to be. But even the champions
doing that celestial Uber.
Yes. And so that's been happening, and so that's all
Or Lyft.
that's all you know about how far you've gotten, but you have not seen Apex. Yeah.
Yes, Taroxys, get this man a weapon. Good to have you back.
That's,
He just like headbutts Taroxys, like, but before he did, like he does the metallic change, so there's like a clank and a spark.
Nolan just nods in appreciation. Having his honorary bass brother back.
As they talk and travel together, time moves on. And as it does, the landscape changes. They find themselves in Elysia Fallen. As they come up over a ridge, they kind of climb up a mountain, and like I said, everything here is malformed. It feels very close to the world that you know of Theros, but things are just slightly off skew, like in the way a mountain kind of jaggedly leans to the side, or the way there are almost no insects or no animals in sight whatsoever. You never hear a bird. And as they come over this ridge, strangely, where there is, this place still bears, for the first time, they're able to take in some beauty from the underworld. For this part of the land still bears some of its old majesty of Elysia as it once was. As it once was a sanctuary of peace, as it once was a place of tranquility. But now, they can still feel that oppressive nature. They can see what were grand temples that dotted the landscape and were surrounded by beautiful forests are now ruins. And those forests are now thick. And what was once colorful vegetation is now confined and heavy weeds and vines. As they are kind of taking this in, they also notice that, like, those kind of overgrown with like sickly weeds, the fruit of the vine that they even come across, it spoils. It almost continues to grow. You see it sprout before your eyes and then spoil immediately. The map speaks and says the center of Old Elysia was the citadel of destiny where heroic souls once gathered to honor the gods and trade and tell tales of glory and feast with worthy companions. It is now the site of a great gaping hole in the earth, the crevice from which Erebos ripped up Elysia itself and cast it into the bowels of the underworld. And you all are marching off in that direction as you find yourself kind of like walking out, coming off the mountain, and find yourself in this kind of flat, open, beautiful, like darkly beautiful valley.
Wow, this is really beautiful, you guys. I thought maybe I could take, I don't know, like 10 minutes and just get a little real with all of you. She pulls out a tiny little scroll. It says, "My dearest friends, new, old, alive, dead, or otherwise, before us lies a challenge. You know, perhaps it's the greatest challenge we've ever faced. And I know, we're all pretty frickin' strong, okay? Individually, sure, we can kick some serious ass. But I just want all of you guys to remember that together, we're even stronger. We're like the most hardcore, fearsome foe, all banded together, and now we have that super cool armor that'll do that too. I just want us all to just feel so strong. It's so badass and so like together. And I think we should end this speech with an inspiring group hug. That's what I think. Come on, give it group hug.
So as the tin.
And I force all of you to have a group hug with me to end this inspiring
the
leader
most forced
speech.
group hug.
Just say that 9 more times. We got you. We're doing it. It's just 9 minutes of group hug. We got this.
That's it. I just fill all of the empty space with come on. Feel it, embrace it. Nope, we're not done yet. Come on. Pats all around.
Does everyone
And you
hug it
guys-
out?
We all get
Yup.
22 temporary hit points.
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
Great.
I do feel a bit better after that. I won't lie.
It's invigorating. It's invigorating.
And
We
as
just
the-
don't get enough hugs in our day to day, you
Yeah.
know, guys. We need some more human contact,
So-
or otherwise.
Question: Did we get a rest after when we
You did.
entered?
You all are
Yeah.
Okay.
you all
Oh,
are tip top
we
right
did?
now. Yep.
Yeah, it took
it's
a
been like a
couple
week
of
or
days.
something, right?
It was
Oh,
3
thank God.
days before you guys got
About 3
here.
days.
So are your
Uh,
guys' exhaustion all
If it's
handled?
only been 3 days,
Well-
then call it, or not Thassa. Um, Colin and I also still have one more level of exhaustion.
One
It's only
level.
been 3 days.
oh, we're at one. I
We were-
thought at the end
'cause
of the
we were
last
at- we were at
session, you
4.
said it all cleared away.
I used 2 spells to.
I said it was 3 days, so yeah, it should be.
Oh
it
yeah,
should
you're
be-
right. We moved down to 3, and then we did 3 days. So yeah, it's gone. You're
It's
right.
okay. That's
Fabulous.
what I thought. Yeah. Okay.
Thank
I
God.
forgot about Sophia being useful.
Good shit there.
Or just stretches. Like I
I
feel
want
like
to
I'm at
bless
full health.
everyone except for you. I want to bless the zombie.
Just a 7th level bless. It's just leaving Tomu now.
Everyone in the underworld gets it except for that fucker right there.
Suddenly, the ground kind of trembles behind you. You all whip around. And then it's gone. Insight or survival or perception from Apodexis.
Hell yeah.
Sandworm.
Jeez. Oh, that's right. New stats. Okay. Let's do insight. That's gonna be a whopping 14.
Okay. So that did feel like, could that thing really be following you? It's never followed you outside of the like past the shores, past the stone faces. But for a moment there, you wonder if Morthax, the Abyssal Devourer, that worm, is still hunting you, Apo.
Has he told them this yet?
I don't know. You tell me.
So
I
at that
think
point, he
you.
does
I think
like,
you. Well, since I said it in a way that you probably mentioned that you've been fighting monsters, but I don't know if you said it like, "Oh, I'm still being followed by this thing." So I'll leave it up to you. Yeah.
I think now would be a time to tell him if they notice like his like looking at the ground and like not really moving.
Jeez, Apple, you look tense. What's up?
I've been running. And I don't mean in a marathon. I don't mean to.
For exercise?
Should
No,
we be running?
there's whatever is causing the ground to tremble. I believe it's been hunting me.
Oh.
So we should turn the tables?
It's called the Devourer of Souls.
But Apple has never been
Jeez.
one to back down from a fight. Now Apple's been by himself, but now he's with the grand old bronze bullies. So I'm not...
You're
What'd you
just
do to
getting me
piss
more
off the
excited.
devourer of souls? Huh?
GM, does he know?
You
But
have
you know-
s-
Like,
you've saved
jump
a
in its
few.
mouth?
You have saved a few souls who it was hunting, and basically, because you led them to like one soul you led to Phileas to the gates of the city, and the devourer did not go into the gates. One you led to Agonis, and it did not go into Agonis. You've only seen it once at a distance, but when it came out of like think Dune, it breaks out of the ground. It shatters the ground around it because it's not sand, but it looks kind of like a dune worm, or similar to what we would call a purple worm. But what's different is it has, right when it opens its mouth, it has 2 tentacles, and its tail has a smaller mouth on it, so it eats from both directions.
Oh, charming.
So it eats from the front and the ass.
And
as
it,
well.
yes, and eats souls. Both of them eating, devouring souls, from what you know. The front shovels kind of forward, like the back is a small amount that tends to kind of pluck at creatures, and those tentacles around the mouth kind of pull things in. You've seen it, catch a couple of souls slipping and take them away. That's right. You're in the underworld now, so all bets are off. This is like anime territory. I get to like make some anime creatures.
We're about to Juju Kaisen this shit. No fair fights. Fuck this thing.
At that moment, as you all are talking this through, you hear some like some giggling. And no, stop, please. And you look over and under, like there's a massive maybe 100 yards away. There's a massive oak tree, beautiful foliage under it. Under that twilight, you see these 3 strikingly beautiful women, wearing mostly nothing, loincloth, and one of them is carrying a large amphora, and they are like dancing around this also very handsome, scantily clad male, who is like, no, please, no, stop. And they seem to be goading him to drink the wine, and he's clearly smitten by their beauty, but seems to like try as best he can to kind of like turn them down. But before you know it, they're all frolicking and chasing each other around the tree and spilling the wine and drinking it with each other. I don't know what you all do to that. It's just something you see happening off in the distance.
Yeah, tell Moon's just gonna run.
Recognize those people, Apo?
I do not.
You guys need to do like some scouting or something. I can check that out for a while.
You may want to keep your rapier in its scabbard down here. And he just like elbows him, if you catch my meaning.
Worth the shot.
Don't forget, we are in the underworld. Everything probably wants to kill us right now.
Have you noticed a lot of things that aren't as they seem? Apodexis?
Yes. I mean, look at the ground we're walking on, and he like kneels down and
it's no longer, yeah. Oh, okay. I'll give you that. There's like one left. It's like almost like but there's those are starting to be less farther, because now you're in a valley where like it's like actual grass, but there's a couple of them almost like cobblestone poking through of those Mazeras. Yes, so he shows you that.
So we're not gonna go save the gentleman? Honor,
I'm
victory,
sorry.
and such?
Did you want to save someone?
Yes.
Hmm.
Saving.
I'm
Honor?
happy to follow suit if that's truly what you wish.
Yeah,
Tell Moon, give me a charisma check.
just check.
Just a charisma check.
Just check.
Not a save.
Well, no, just it's higher if it's safe. Roll me. I should bring dice to the dice game, right?
You wouldn't think that.
That's a 23.
Okay. One of the ladies stops and looks over her long curly hair going down her back and waves out, seems to be directly towards Telmoon. Hey, big boy. Come play with us. That's a mighty big horn you have there. And she
I
like goes.
think this is unwise.
It is.
This is the greeting we get in the underworld?
Can I have
Can-
I'll take an insight check from all of you, but I'll give you an advantage one to. Would any of you have lore, any kind of history on the underworld at all, let me know if you think you do. And
Sophia would be our best bet for that.
probably Sophia. So Sophia, you give me a. I'll take a religion, or I'll take just your normal insight, and then Apple, I'll give you. I'll give you an
religion all day.
advantage insight check, Apple.
She'd be more on the religious side, so
Ooh, that's a dirty 20.
25
Something ain't
for
right
religion.
here. Something ain't right.
I would.
Is it possible for me before any of this to do an action, or did I wait too long to speak up?
You did not. You can do an action.
Can I?
I will say at this
out?
point, the situation happening over by the tree, at least the gentleman and one of the ladies, it has begun to get a bit spicy over there, as the other two are now like calling out. Like one is calling out to Talmoon, and the other is like, no, not you, silly. He's my friend. Oh, but you're all welcome, and then kind of like seem to be like now waving towards the entire group.
Sorry,
I want
Nikki's
to
mom.
pull out my pan flute and play. What's in my head is like from the Willy Wonka when he does that like and I want to do counter charm.
Mhm.
So as an action, I'm just going to perform a little jig.
Okay.
And any friendly creature within 30 feet that can hear me is going to gain advantage on saving throws against being frightened or charmed.
Okay. And as that happens, yeah, I like it. This the song plays. Can everyone give me an advantage wisdom saving throw?
I don't know if you saw my results now.
Oh no. Okay. You get one more roll against that. Now,
Is that one also at advantage?
Oh, was your first one at advantage?
No, the first
No.
I rolled 2 times. I gave you both results.
Oh, gotcha. What I'm saying is roll one more time for me for the wisdom.
Okay.
We're very wise guys. We're
I
very
fucking
wise.
Is this shit broken? I hit the first number again, Mel.
Okay, the same number. Okay.
2?
It was a 4 on the die. It's a dirty 3.
Oh. I was close.
So,
4, 1, 4.
any numbers for everyone else?
15.
Okay.
15.
So all of you
17.
like kind of standing there like this, you
Oh,
all
yeah.
aren't new around the block, nor are you freshly have died. I know I also asked for insight checks too before that, so what I'll kind of combine these for the sake of time is that on one hand, for those of you who have some history on the underworld, it is likely that entering the Vale of Heroes, as this is supposed to be said, of course you never died before, naiads and nymphs are often meant, like they're said to meet heroic personalities here on the other side, and that there are great like parties and revels that are had. But at the same time, with the darker tone that you see the world with the spoiled grapes, and this does seem to be something seems to be a little off with it and fishy. And so with that, with Fitz playing that tune to counter the charm, anyone who's got a 15 and above has succeeded. Tell Moon just starts sprinting away from you all. Just right.
Just Pepe Le Pew floating on the wind.
And
We
tell
out
Moon,
here.
she's tall and she's Amazonian, and you're short and you're furry, and you just
I'll climb that.
you
We're going.
just leap into the arms of this just this beautiful woman. Boom, and like tell Moon to just is captivated in her arms.
Jason's story is complete.
Did Persis come with me?
Yeah, that was my question because
Oh.
I don't know if you heard me, Mal.
No.
I got a 13,
So
so I don't know what I'm doing here.
So Persis, based on Persis's likings or maybe charm. There, whether I don't know what Persis is attracted to, right? So there are feminine and male presenting figures here, but well, one male presenting who is extremely handsome as well, in kind of very Adonis like form. Who is Persis drawn to in the group, if any? And even if it's not, I will say this doesn't even necessarily have to be sexual in nature. What it is that these beings, maybe even they just make you want to break away from this feeling of foreboding and dread, and just having fun or being away from this group. Persis is drawn to this, strangely, of all people, in this moment. And so I'll allow you to tell me how Persis reacts and who she might react to.
I mean, sure.
I know what Talmud's doing.
Yeah.
Anything that walks.
We can say, yeah. So she's heading towards the Adonis-like figure, the male figure, and maybe just in her own mind, like he's looking away, and he turns and he's been reading a little book, and like, oh, it gives her a look like, oh, do you want to maybe discuss this?
Yeah. And so lying there, almost like having a picnic, like they're lying there on the grass. He's got this arm around one of the ladies, and he's drinking wine out of a cup, and then he kind of looks up from his book, and Persis sits down beside him, and they begin to discuss. As Telmoon is frolicking, and all of you are like, the rest of you are kind of watching this, kind of obscured by like bushes and trees. What's the rest of everyone doing?
We're peeping through the bushes.
It's from a distance.
What are they doing?
Should we stop them? What's happening?
This needs to stop.
What do you want me to do? Tie my rope into a lasso and haul them back?
That would be a good thing.
I have rope. I could try.
I need a con saving throw from both Telmoon and Persis.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna turn into trees.
Huh? It's 13.
Okay.
25.
Okay. I'll
Still
ask
itch.
what everyone else is kind of. So I'll say, like, I imagine the party's kind of stunned, as it makes sense, right? This is extremely awkward. This is the group that like beheads people for like on a daily basis, and then this breaks out. They're like, "What do we do? What do we do?" It's like a Ricky Bobby moment, right? For the whole time.
I got nothing.
And so in that, yeah, I guess, they're like Persis is kind of enraptured, kind of like as this Adonis character is like kind of whispering sweet nothings to her. And Telmoon is frolicking with this kind of big Amazonian, and the other is lying there by their side, and the other is kind of feeding them wine and looking out to you all and like waving in this very flirtatious manner. The rest of the group is seeing through it. It definitely, while you're not seeing what it is, you're seeing it for what it is. It is definitely some form of charm. Fitz has clearly laid that out. Do you rein in there and like try to get them out and drag them out and be like, no? What
Yeah,
can you all
so
do?
Apo gets within 10 feet of them, and then they all need to make the wisdom saving throw. So
Who will need
any
to
of
make
them
this?
who are trying.
Okay.
So so the male and the females.
Yes, and what are you
that
trying to do to them?
the daunting roar that he has.
Get scared, bitch.
Oh, I forgot how loud that is.
All right, so they need to make a.
Wisdom saving throw, DC 17.
Let me do that. Okay, so I'm gonna make 4 of those. Because yeah. Oh no, that's not what I was trying to do. Stupid me.
Oh no.
That's not. That's an accident. That's an accidental roll. Let me. I don't know how. Let me start that over. That was from a previous. That was like from a previous. So
Renee, is that creatures you choose or all creatures?
yeah. So
It says creatures of your choice within 10 feet.
Okay, so you chose not to hit.
when I
the two of
reveal
us.
this is gonna be hilarious. But one got a 19.
20, 20, 20.
Actually got one a 19, and then the other. So these are we're just going for the ladies first. 17. One more. They get a +1, so one was being 9, and then for the Adonis figure, a 14. So 14, 9, and then I think one was like 17. So you said 13 was 18. So how many of them? So
17 was the DC.
So I think one of them failed. Two of them failed.
Two of them failed.
So the Adonis failed, and then so I think he got a 13, and then the other one failed. So one of the ladies failed. So
All right, Persis.
And so as you roar, like they kind of get shocked. And the ladies, they kind of jump off. One, like the Adonis character kind of like snaps out of the moment of talking to Persis. Now, do Persis and Telmu need to make the same save? I imagine they do, right? Because no. Okay.
Yeah, it would have been his choice.
It would be his choice. Yeah. Okay. And so as the Adonis character kind of snaps out of it, like, oh, not again. Leave me be. The one figure, she drops the amphora, like the jug of wine, and it shatters like a clay pottery. And all the figures around you, they kind of shift, and their skins go from kind of like pale and brown, like humanoid colors, to this bluish color that kind of rolls and has like there's like the stars, the nicks seem to be on their bodies, almost like a bit of glitter, a magical glitter on them. Their hair flowing. They have a bit of a slight fangs, like a vampire would, and they hiss. And inside of their dark pits of their eyes are just two white, very tiny little white pupils, as they hiss at Apple as he roars at them. But as Apple does this, it's not before they are both able to get a kiss off on the Amazon on Telmoon, and one on to one to Persis. And so your con saves. What did you all roll?
Mine was a 25.
25?
I was a 13.
13. The 13 will fail.
Mm-hmm.
The 25 will pass. I am not lying. This is what I rolled. Silly. If you failed, you'll take 69 points of of damage of this will be
Pictures are again happen now.
I will take a picture of this if I can like screenshot it here. That constant save or take psychic damage. So person takes 69 points, and you'll take half of that till Moon, as everyone kind of snaps out of it as the nymphs slide back, pull like their hair. They kind of drag their claws through their like dark stringy hair, and the hairs kind of like snap off, and they like get strong, and the hairs turn into like these ebony blades that they're holding in their hands. As you all kind of like turn to face off with the succubus naiad lampids that you're fighting, we'll roll initiative and crash to black and end our game there. But I will say that you have snapped out of your charm, both in Telmoon and
what charm?
And Persis. Tell us what charm.
Joke's on you, DM. I was
yeah, he's
never
like, I was
charmed.
never charmed. I was doing my own thing.
That shit was willing from day one.
No, my dice was like, nope, you doing this.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Good stuff. Good stuff. So we will pick up from where that battle takes place next session.
Nice.
And get in there. So,
that was a lot to
Sorry,
take in.
Sorry, Persis. I didn't mean to do it like
Everybody.
that.
At
Keep
least
your
I'm not here alone.
hands in the cart at all times.
I haven't used
I thought
succubuses in a
anything-
while, like lampions, nymphs in a while. So yeah, I didn't know how it was gonna.
I thought you were singing "Everybody Clap Your Hands."
No, everyone
Everybody
hands
keep
and feet.
and I was just like,
Stay in the cart.
dun, 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 dun.
We already know Tell Moon, if he was allowed to, he would have finished clapping something.
That he did.
All right, I'm taking a screenshot of this roll
Oh,
here.
yes.
Efficiencies.
We gotta see that.
So
Layer
ridiculous.
drum beat just
That's okay.
out of nowhere.
I only took 12 points of damage because of the inspiring speed, the inspiring leader. Thank you, Nikki.
You're welcome. I'm glad that has already helped us.
That helped my shenanigans. Did not help the college quite as much.
You know what
that book.
sucks? This is like a taste of the underworld. Not even a real
Yeah.
one. This is just like,
Oh yeah, and this is our crawl. We're not getting a long rest
no.
in a long
Yeah.
time.
Uh-oh.
We went what, 10 feet?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
you know, as soon as you saw that, one of y'all should grab me. I don't know why y'all was just letting me be.
Yeah,
free.
I was waiting for somebody to grab him or be like, "We're not going over there," or like, "We're moving on."
I mean,
Um,
Tell Moon is the I do what I want guy, so
He is.
it's
And-
kind of
and I'll
hard for
turn to
any
Fitz,
of
and
us.
Fitz was like, "Oh, are we going? Yeah, we can go." And I was like, "Oh yeah, let's do it."
I'm like, you
Pretty
do you.
sure no one here can grab Tell Moon.
And
I
that's-
literally was about to use my rope from my like adventuring gear to do a lasso and try and like cartoon lasso him back. That was my
Yeah.
plan.
Well, because Mage Hand won't hold him, right? He's
I
too
don't
heavy.
I don't
How
have
about
that.
telekinesis, though?
telekinesis would work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Taraxis
just gonna be like,
historically
old
considers it
person.
weird. So Taraxis generally lets Telmoon do his thing when that's happening and tries to look in a different direction because he considers bodily functions strange.
I can't stop Tell Moon from anywhere. I mean, I could stop Tell Moon, but
Hey,
I can't like get them
muscles.
back.
I've seen them muscles. You could have stopped Telmoon.
I can be like, hold person, be like, all right, but that's not really stopping him once he's there.
No. Once he gets his mind made up about something, there's no stopping Tell Moon.
Also, what is going on in the Discord with the gifts?
Oh God, no!
I haven't even
I
been
haven't
over
seen
there
it.
yet. So
Yeah.
No.
Hey, you ain't seen that Konosuba?
You wanna? Let's just not.
I haven't even gotten over there.
Because that's what I was waiting for.
Lord have mercy.
Hey,
Yeah.
why do I feel like something's poking me back there? Because it is. Oh no.
At this
I was
point,
trying
I'll
to be
take the
tasteful as
purple arm.
possible, but like I
Nope.
knew.
No.
Nope.
the-
You
Nope.
told
Nah.
you started that conversation with tentacles swallow from both
Mhm.
sides. Excuse me, sir. You know exactly where my brain's going.
I
And then you
I love-
offered me nothing.
I just love it.
And now
The
I can't
game that
unsee it.
that Renee comes back. We get
Of course.
we get D&D After Dark.
Yes. With Renee back, I was like, I had to be one of those episodes, right?
Necessary.
Like, it had to be.
I mean, Mel cursed himself with this one because he made me the god of storms. It's just like, okay.
Oh yeah, I was so
Yeah.
ready for that. To I just say
So
this. It didn't
quiet,
say
and then,
this,
and then I show up, and then
save as PNG. Let's do this a JPEG.
Yeah, there are no quiet evenings in this campaign.
No.
No, that's
There's nothing but shenanigans.
It's funny because
mean-
when we went to Bardstock, it was Pythias that went with Telmoon
Yes.
to the
Yep.
to the tent.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So
It's always the
And
reoccurring.
debauchery.
it's always Colin as a semi-willing participant in my shenanigans, and it all going
I'm
wild.
pretty
mean,
sure Pythias was
Bardstock
like,
was-
yeah, let's go.
Bardstock
Yeah.
was consensual.
Yeah.
Bardstock
It was
more
consensual,
Yeah,
and
totally.
everyone had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way you played the. That's what I put it in your hands, Colin, to play how the charm would work. And I like that was.
I like how she's like intellectually
She's like,
stimulated.
yeah, she's like,
oh hell yeah, you're reading that book too?
Yeah.
Let's discuss.
That's
Wait
what
till
I
you
wanna
get
hear.
chapter this.
Yeah.
In paragraph 25.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what they're reading, but
yeah, it's great. It leaves so much to the innuendos.
56
They're all
Shades of the Underworld.
50 Shades of Cerulean Seas.
Just the memoirs of Proximus. as
There's
well.
the
It's
screenshot of the roll.
I'm waiting for this 69 damage, sir. 'Cause
fine. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it literally was. I was like, oh, that's how appropriate for that one
That's a
roll.
new-
That's
Too
a
appropriate.
wild amount of damage for just
Yeah.
you guys could walk by this, or you guys get that shit real quick.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't believe we can't resist the smallest little thing.
that's the great thing about the bullies is that they just it's that thing about like with that we first logged on. Jason was saying like, you know, oh, I don't with his party on Sundays how like I try to set them up like they don't have to like engage with everything and they don't have to fight everything, and they're like, no, we're gonna kill these 25 zombies. Like if you mention it, we have to engage with it and it has to die. I feel like the Bronze Boys are kind of the same way. Like they just go, ooh, shiny.
Oh hell yeah!
I feel like all of this has happened.
There's a wreckage of a
because they're, like,
crashed ship. Let's go.
they're like on the way to somewhere and they're like, did you see that? We're going over there.
We gotta
False.
check that
We
out.
proved you wrong tonight.
You did.
Apple was like, I'm being hunted, and we didn't immediately go, let's go fucking kill
that
it.
I did.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
way
get
you
up on
did.
the word.
Yeah,
Y'all-
we expect you to do that.
Y'all denied me my impulses one too many times. And you see what happens.
You've done nothing but like
You see what
enable
happens?
your fucking.
You see?
Someone didn't get a chance to go to the Tiefling Tale that one night.
Yup.
Well, too bad his partner is like anti Minotaur. Blame him, not the group.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, and that was an honorable duel that Minotaur was challenged to. It's not our fault. He didn't know how to accept it. We tried.
The chat is the Discord is ridiculous.
Yes, Fitz, fucking amateur.
Because
You
that's
just in the
I don't know if I
Discord.
what's
read
so
that right,
funny is
but
that
that's
is like what I tried to describe without saying it, and then which means that it clearly was the moment was taken. Oh, man.
it was clear.
I volunteered tribute.
Oh yeah, as soon as you described it, I was like, he don't want to. What about me?
We don't necessarily know what would happen or if it would have been like a fight if Apple came in and like messed up the so we don't know. We don't know if they were
Apple
they
might have lured us here. We don't know.
I mean, they literally pulled out daggers from their hair. How was that gonna?
Hey, sometimes.
You're the only group that hasn't fought this version of these creatures. I've actually used these with the home group, with the other group. All the Theros groups have like seen them, but they basically, like they just like their hair like whips into blades. They fight with their hair. Yeah.
So are they bald now, or
No.
is it just-
They just they just whip a strand out. They still like have long black hair to like their feet. I can actually show you what. I can
Have
actually
you,
show you what
have
they
you
look
ever
like.
been
No, they're
somewhere
not
where
Jada
it's
Pinkett
really
Smith.
cold and
So you're
those
telling me-
girls they like
Yeah.
take a shower and then they go to school anyway with the wet hair in the cold climate and then it just turns into like straightness? That's what I'm picturing.
This is what they look like.
Hey, I'm sorry, man. Selma Hayek and From Dawn Till Dusk ruined me. You cannot make me run away from dangerous ladies.
That is. I mean,
That
I'm
did
not
ruin me
gonna
too
lie.
as a cast. It's like if I'm going to the dust of dawn, like I'm dead. I'm dead.
Dead,
I'm dead.
fully.
I'm a vampire. It's over. Like it's done.
I don't know. The moment the like head change in the Cobra thing, I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna kill myself.
Yeah, but by that point,
Yeah, I'm in
you're
there.
gone.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no.
the point where it's just too late when they all start turning to vampires and dust of dawn, you're like, oh, it's too late. Like I fucked up.
No, because George Clooney was like, he's been married before and shot the bitch in the face.
This
Yeah,
is
but
true.
that's different.
This is true.
That's different.